Hey guys, Biomage1233 here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to flip in the French chat Flipchat1. So if you are looking for a certain part of the video, all of the different sections are linked in the description, so if you check that out you can skip to whatever part you want to. The first thing you should know about Flipchat1 is the requirements, and the only real requirement that there is you'll need about 5 mil starting cash. With that much you'll be doing around 40 to 60% of the items in the flip chat, and there are enough items that you shouldn't have too much trouble with the 4-hour limit, if any trouble at all. And so other than that, there's really nothing else you need. The next thing you should know about Flipchat1 is the items that they price check. Every French chat does their own items, as with Flipchat1, and Flipchat1 does bandos, armadillo, subjugation, and some miscellaneous items such as ranger boots, Robin Hood hat, and Saradomin amulets. The next thing you should know about Flipchat1 is the abbreviations. When you're asking for a price check, you might be thinking you have to type out bandos helmet price check or something. But instead you can just put BHPC. Sometimes if the price checker is new they won't know what you mean, but that's just if they're very new. These abbreviations are very common knowledge. These are the general rules. If it starts with a B, it's bandos, so B equals bandos, A equals armadillo, and S equals subjugation. And so it goes like that with basically everything. So if it's BG, it's bandos gloves. There are a few exceptions like garb, first garb of subjugation, and gown, and hood. So like ACB equals armadillo crossbow, stuff like that. And then for the miscellaneous items, because they're not bandos, armadillo, or subjugation, they each have their own names. So Robin Hood hat is Robin, or RHH for Robin Hood hat. There's Saradomin's Whisper, which is just Wisp. There's Saradomin's Murmur, which is just Murm. And then there's Saradomin's Hiss, which is just Hiss. The last thing is Ranger Boots, and most people just call them Rangers. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about abbreviations in Flipchat1. Really quickly, just in case you haven't flipped before, or you haven't used the Grand Exchange enough to know this, but the Grand Exchange has a limit. So every 4 hours this limit resets, and the limit is different for every item. You can look up the limits if you want, but in Flipchat1 all items are 1-4 items, except for Robin Hood hat, aka Robin, and Ranger Boots. And those are 2-4. But other than that, everything is 1-4. So if your second bandos chestplate isn't buying for 2 bill, then there's a reason, and that's because you're on the limit. So yeah, that is the Grand Exchange limit. The last thing you should know before you start flipping in Flipchat1 is that there is a rule for changing your prices. When you get a buy price, you're supposed to use that buy price, and you are not supposed to change it at all until it's been 30 minutes, and that's why this is called the 25k 30 min rule. And so every 30 minutes you can raise your buy price by 25k, and every 30 minutes you can lower your sell price by 25k. You don't want to change your prices other than that often, or if there's been an update on the item. If it's been 4 hours, that doesn't mean you should raise your price by like 200k. You should still only raise it by 25k at a time. That's basically everything, so let's get into flipping in Flipchat1. Now that you know all that, you can start flipping in Flipchat1. So what you want to do is join the flip chat, and then you just ask for a price, like BHPC, and so you would get that. I've already asked, so I'm going to buy bandos helmet for 5575k. So let's buy that. Okay, and then the other thing is bandos tassets, and that is 5.4 mil, so 5400k. And that's basically everything about Flipchat1. Once you've asked for an item, you buy those, and then once they buy, you use the sell. That's buy and then sell, of course. So once these go through, I'll sell for 5875k or lower based on the 25k 30-min rule. And that's basically everything. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, then please throw it a like. It really helps. You can also subscribe below. I've linked to the Flipchat1 forum in the description, so if there's no PCer and you need the list, or if you are wanting to try PCing, then you can just go there, make an account, and go to the margins section. But that's basically everything. I hope you enjoyed this. In the future, I'll be doing guides for the Flipchat's Next and SS and R Quark. If there's anything else, any questions you have, just leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.